Well, folks, a lot of people have been asking me over the years, what happens when Donald Trump is gone? Who takes over that MAGA movement? Well, according to voters in New Hampshire, they already know who's going to take over. The MAGA movement itself has decided that they do have an heir, and that heir is actually Florida's Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz. Voters in New Hampshire, where Matt Gaetz was stumping over the weekend before the primary, said that they love him. He's a lot like Donald Trump. In fact, here is how reporter Sam Stein put it. They view him as not so much as a surrogate for the campaign, but as an heir to the Trump movement. Gaetz has even started to physically resemble a Trump with slicked back hair in the style of Trump's actual sons, but most people who have flocked to his events say it is his political approach that reminds them of the former president. It's precisely because he gets heckled that they love him. And of course, at recent Matt Gaetz events, he has been heckled relentlessly by very clever activists calling him out for the accusations against him. And it's been something, quite a sight to behold. I absolutely love to see it. Especially because, it's a good, non-violent, non-threatening way to remind people of these things and put these horrible people in bad positions. But even the fact that, again, he's starting to look like a Trump. Well, here's the thing. Matt Gaetz actually has a lot of the same qualities as Donald Trump. So if we're going to start thinking of him as the heir to the MAGA movement, let's talk about it in terms of, can it happen? And I don't think so. I'll tell you why he seems like a good fit on the surface, other than, of course, trying to morph himself into looking like one of Trump's sons. Matt Gaetz does a lot of what Donald Trump does. He does try to buck the establishment. He worked with AOC to actually push legislation to ban congressional stock trading, and that's a good thing, but it pissed off a lot of Republicans. He's pissed off Republicans, by ousting Kevin McCarthy, by putting up the roadblocks to McCarthy's initial speakership bid. All of those things have put Gaetz as an outsider, right? I'm challenging the swamp. And he does have the credentials, by the way, to back that up. So if you're looking at it in those terms, sure, he seems like the logical pick to take over for Donald Trump. Now, here's where you're going to have a problem. Now, I mentioned that Matt Gaetz made a big showing in New Hampshire. Right? The people there loved him. He had, dozens and dozens of people at his events. Dozens and dozens, even hundreds, is not thousands and thousands. See, Matt Gaetz has already attempted to go it on his own. A couple summers ago, let's not forget, he and Marjorie Taylor Greene teamed up. They went on their little cross-country MAGA tour. And what happened? Well, the joint super PAC that they had set up to fund that whole thing went bankrupt because nobody came out. And nobody was supporting them. They even had to do some events on a sidewalk where a couple dozen people stopped for a few moments to listen to these idiots speak. Matt Gaetz does not have the draw that Donald Trump has. Because let's never forget, part of Donald Trump's draw is not just that he's got the MAGA movement. Why does he have the MAGA movement? Because decades before Donald Trump even thought about running for president, he was a household name. He was a punchline in sitcoms. He was mentioned in songs. He was pop culture, and that was before he hosted The Apprentice. He has that celebrity factor, and that's never going to go away. Matt Gaetz doesn't have that. He doesn't have Donald Trump's, dare I say, charisma. I don't even like to give him that kind of credit. He doesn't have Trump's ability to work a crowd. I know he thinks he does, but he doesn't. So if Matt Gaetz is in fact the heir apparent to the MAGA movement, you can expect probably at least half of that movement to fracture off the second Trump is gone and Matt Gaetz takes over. I don't think the movement as a whole survives the way it is today once Trump is gone, even if Matt Gaetz takes the wheel. Ring of Fire is just a few subscribers short of hitting that 1 million subscriber milestone. So if you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and do so and stay up to date with all of the latest from Ring of Fire.